It is 3:30, and I'd like to call the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners full board meeting to order. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Vice Chair Foster.
Here.
Marcia Hovey Wright.
Here.
Commissioner Hovey Wright. Chairman Hughes.
Here.
Chairman Commissioner Laring.
Here.
Commissioner Mahoney.
Here.
Commissioner Nash.
Here.
Commissioner Skolnick.
Here.
Commissioner Snyder.
Here.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Here.
9 present.
We have a quorum. Next, I would like to invite Pastor Doug Maylear from the Hope Lighthouse Ministries for an invocation. Would you please stand for that and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Let me just say it's an honor and a privilege for me to be here. Pray for this commission. Thank you. Let's pray. Father, most gracious Heavenly Father, we just pray today for discernment, for wisdom, for making decisions for the people of Muskegon County, God. I pray, God, that you give this commission the discernment that they need, that you would surround them with your favor as a shield as they work for the good of this county, God. So we pray it all in your precious name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Next on our agenda is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wilkins, second by Commissioner Foster. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. That motion is carried. Next, we have approval of the minutes of January 28th, regular and closed session.
So move. Support.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Foster, second by Commissioner Mahoney. Any questions on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. That motion is carried. Now we have time set aside for public comment on an agenda item. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to have a comment on an agenda item? Please approach the podium. Give us your name and where you live, and limit your comments to 2 minutes or less, please.
My name's not Doug.
Your name is yes, it's definitely not.
I'm Dave Versluis, and I've lived in Muskegon County for 31 years. And I'm here today to discuss the Second Amendment sanctuary resolution that's on the agenda for today. And I bring to the board
I don't believe there is that
today.
I don't believe that's on the agenda.
On
today.
correspondence, we've got correspondence.
Under correspondence, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I bring some paperwork to address that issue. I bring a copy of a resolution to make Muskegon County a Second Amendment sanctuary county. It's identical to the correspondence that was sent to the board previously, and that's on the agenda. And I've also brought, in support of that, 412 signatures on a petition to support that. And this is just collected in the last few days, and there's coming in pretty fast. So this is just as of 11 o'clock this morning. There's going to be a lot more than that. But I wanted to bring this to the board and put this forth to the board for your consideration. I'll hand this over here.
That's fine. Thank
Okay.
you very much. Anyone else?
Michael Howeisen, Muskegon County resident. I wanted to continue on with what he brought up. You all swore an oath to the Constitution. And I've showed this to you before that I have my pocket Constitution. Part of that Constitution needs to be addressed and sent to Lansing when it comes to this resolution. I don't believe that if you're backing the Constitution fully, that you took an oath to, that you need to pass this, send it on to Lansing to tell them you will not allow them to infringe on our county's citizens' rights. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Sandy Kempf, 713 Fowler Street. I'm here also to address the issue of a amendment sanctuary county for Muskegon County. I truly believe that our county needs to be able to follow the Constitution, and the Constitution of the state of Michigan is even a stronger part of this issue. And so we'd really like to see the county consider it, that we need to have our Second Amendment rights protected.
Thank you.
My name is Sandy J. Glore, and I live in Muskegon County. And I would like to also say that all legal citizens should be able to bear arms. They should take lessons on safety and have and not have a mental impairment. But that anybody else should be able to have an arms guns if they want. I personally don't like guns, but if it meant that it was a safety for my safety, I would have one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Mary Lou Nitz. I live at 1361 Anna Road. And I believe that we should follow the Constitution and have our right to bear arms. I'm an American citizen and I'm a Muskegon resident, been all my life, and it shouldn't be infringed upon. I mean, our forefathers fought to give us these rights, and we should.
Next.
My name is Rosie Balberti, and I live at 921 East Forest Avenue, and I support the Second Amendment and the resolution for Muskegon County as stated in our Michigan state laws. Thank you.
Ann Derwin, 1391 West Laketon Avenue. I do definitely support the Second Amendment, and I ask that you support and pass this resolution for Muskegon County. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gary Myers. I am a former 60th District Court officer, and I'm a former deputy sheriff. I am presently the vice president of the Twin Lake Gun Club. We support all of our Second Amendment rights. One of the things I would like to read to you real quick here, you have all taken an oath to support the Constitution and Michigan's Constitution in Section 6. I'm going to just read it to you here. Every person has a right to keep and bear arms in the defense of himself and the state. That's pretty much black and white. There's no gray areas. We shouldn't even have to come and try and get an amendment like this. It says it right there. In your minds, think about it. This is what the Constitution says. There is no black and white, like I said before. You need to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Marone Ali, and I'm a resident of Muskegon Heights. I've been a resident of Muskegon practically all my life, and I'm here in regard to the bus crisis issue, whatever.
Sir, that's not on our agenda today. You can come back at the end under public comment if you'd like to. This is for items on the agenda only.
Well, I wasn't informed of that. I was informed to come.
And there is another
today.
time for public comment, but since the bus situation is not on the agenda and there's not been a public hearing yet, so the people are not informed by the bus system what's happening, you'll have to wait until the end to give your comments.
Today, this meeting.
Okay, but we're gonna have a hard time trying to get people back again because we had a hard time getting people out today.
You can come back at the end of the meeting and speak, but you're done for right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rochelle Myers. I live in Twin Lake, Michigan. I am also supporting the Second Amendment sanctuary city, although I am offended that we even have to have a Second Amendment sanctuary city. It should be a given under our constitutional rights. I am obviously not a large person, and I have grandchildren that I have with me quite frequently. And I feel that it is imperative for me to be able to protect myself and my grandchildren. The state of the country these days and the state of what goes on, especially with the trafficking of young children, especially girls, I should be able to protect myself and my grandchildren, and I support this, and I would hope that you would also. Thank you.
Hi, Rich Haldeman, Community Affairs Manager over at Consumers Energy. Just wanted to talk about the shoreline erosion issue. Since you're talking about it on your agenda, I do communicate quite actively with the local units up and down the lakeshore. It's really important because we have service to these maybe endangered premises. We really want to keep everybody safe. So I've talked to Richard Warner quite a bit. We also talk with Ottawa. We're just trying to get on the front end of service disconnects while once maybe the local unit deems a property endangered. So I just want to let you know we're working pretty actively with your folks to try to keep everybody safe out there.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
Mike Kempf, Muskegon County resident for past 72 years. I was born here and still here, so you get to see me every once in a while. I'm here to support Muskegon County becoming a Second Amendment sanctuary county. As others have said, I don't know why we need to come to do this, but I think that we need to express to others at the Capitol and other counties that we support the Constitution of the United States. And the Second Amendment is an important part of that. We've always had that right. And it's to protect us from enemies on the outside and enemies on the inside. And we all know that there's an opportunity for break-ins, and we hear of murders every day. And if there'd been guns in the right hands, it stopped. Just as at church in Texas, a man came in with a gun and fired a shot, and within seconds he was dead because the members of that church were carrying. So I ask you, commissioners, please do the right thing and make our county stand out. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Larry Hard, Ravenna Township. I haven't been here for a few weeks due to some blood pressure and cardiac issues. And funny, the cardiologist suggests that you tone things down a little bit. And I'm a type A personality and I make my own stress. So I guess I should listen to the doctor, eh?
Right.
I wouldn't want to stroke out right in front of you here. Obviously in support of the Second Amendment movement. I've been a gun guy all my life. And I guess I don't have to repeat or have to read the Second Amendment federal or the state Constitution on gun rights. That's been read to you already. For me, this is a test for you guys. I swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution on 2 different occasions, and I'm taking that seriously. When we take an oath, make an oath, our honor requires that we live up to the oath. So in my mind today, the test is for you folks. You took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. Are you honorable people today? Are you going to honor your oath?
Good afternoon. I'm Carl Nitz. I live at 1361 Anna here in town. Anyways, I too, as everybody else has already stated, was supporting the Second Amendment. Sanctuary County is probably utmost everybody in here should be right to do that. I took the oath several times, and it's no different than yours. Thank you.
Aline Miller, 2480 Simonelli Road, Muskegon. So many people nowadays don't watch the news because it's too depressing. I was talking to someone this morning and I mentioned that I was going to be here today, and I just mentioned red flag laws. Well, what is that? People don't know what is happening under their noses, what laws are being passed, and I'm just here to support the Second Amendment. Thank you.
Thank
Anyone else?
I do. My name is Tony Barnes, Dalton Township Supervisor. I too support the Second Amendment. Here's my CPL license. All right. I haven't heard anything where these county commissions are taking away your damn constitutional right to get rid of your Second Amendment. So stop with this divisive politics. Get it out of our township and out of our county, and just vote this nonsense down. Take the correspondence for what it is. But there's nobody taking my guns, and there's nobody in here taking your guns either. It's already a federally protected constitutional right, and as it's been said, a state right. So stop with this divisive politics in our county. Let's get the work done to the people and stop this nonsense. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Billy Picklesheimer, and I live at
Billy, would you please pull the
3641.
microphone down?
Pull the microphone
Oh,
down. Thank you. Well, you didn't have your hat on.
I thought to take that off. But I also defend the Second Amendment, and I too pray that we think of this, and not only that, because I said it would be nice if our First Amendment was in that, because we know we are losing so much of our free speech. So it's time that America thinks about what they are losing in many ways and stand firm and bold before our representatives, you guys, if it's necessary. And also remember that we're all going to stand before the judgment seat of God one day. And then we're all going to have to answer how we did. And can we answer our grandkids, or our children, our great-grandkids, if they ask us? There's a saying out that my daughter put in a paper one time. She went in through. What if say, Granny, what did you do? How do you answer that child? So let's think serious about a lot of things going on, and I certainly am for us being very defensive on the Second Amendment.
My name is Leroy McLean. I spent 30 years in the inner city here ministering to the black community, the white community, to the whole community. I was at the gun collection places when they collected guns in this city. I didn't see one of the people from the alley. Not a drug dealer, not a criminal. I saw citizens bringing in their guns that they may well need in the future to protect their own families. It was sickening. It was sickening. We're taking the guns away from the people who may well in the future need them to protect their own families. Yes, we have law enforcement. It may take 20 minutes for them to get there. It's a little late. It's a little late. Am I advocating everyone raise up with a gun? No, I'm advocating that they have one for their own protection. I advocate that. I'm sorry that the Constitution is even being questioned. It came from godly men. It was posed by godly men. It was for godly men. And I just believe that this is a wrong move. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will move on.
Got one more.
Oh, we have one more? Okay.
Hi, my name is Christine Van Dyke, and I'm in support of the two-way sanctuary. I signed the petition. I'm a resident in Muskegon County too. Also, I'm a member of the Muskegon Conservation Club, and there's a lot of people that are part of Sportsmen for Youth, which is a event that happens here in Muskegon County, and teaching our youth about hunting and fishing and things like that. So if people were to lose their right to bear arms, they would also be losing the rights to use weapons for hunting, and so it'd be a shame to lose that here in Muskegon County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will move on to communication. You have 4 pieces of communication in front of you. They will be placed on file, and they will remain a part of this agenda. Committee and board reports, Courts and Public Safety, Commissioner Snyder.
Madam Chair, the Courts and Public Safety Committee met on February 4, 2020. It was recommended and I move CPS 20/02-9, 10, 11, and 12.
Support. Motion by Commissioner Snyder, second by Commissioner Wilkins. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins, Vice Chair Foster,
Yes.
Chairman Hughes.
Yes.
9 yes.
And that motion carries.
And that completes the report.
Thank you, Commissioner Snyder. Second on our list is Human Services Committee. Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Human Services Committee met on February the 4th. It was recommended, and I move HS 2002-3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9B, 10, and 11.
Second.
We have a motion and support. Motion by Commissioner Nash, second by Commissioner Skolnick.
Snyder.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Last week, number 9 was changed significantly. So I would move that we remove that from the list and vote on that separately.
The motion is changed.
It is changed on the motion.
Did you read the motion that was approved? We can't take a motion that was approved at the meeting off.
Okay, all right. So we wait to the minutes of the.
The meeting was.
Okay.
The changed, this is not the original motion. This is the changed motion that was
No,
voted
this.
on. 9B.
I believe this is not as we changed it. I
Yes,
guess
it
I'm
is.
confused about this because we did not approve spending $220,000.
Right, we ask it to come back to the next Ways and Means Committee meeting on February 18th. That's what it says if you finish reading the motion.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, so we're not approving spending the $222,000. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Laring,
No on number 10, yes on the rest.
thank you. Commissioner Mahoney,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Vice Chair Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes.
And Chairman Hughes.
Yes.
9 yes on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 11, and 8 yes, 1 no on 10. On 10.
Thank you very much, and that motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. Next on our agenda is Ways and Means Committee, Commissioner Skolnick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Ways and Means Committee met on February 4th, 2020. It was recommended, and I move WM 20/02-8-9-10-11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Skolnick, second by Commissioner Foster. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Mahoney,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Skolnick.
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Vice Chair Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Laring.
No on number 12, 14, 15, and 16, yes on the rest.
And Chairman Hughes.
Yes.
9 yes on 8, 9, 10, 11, and 8 yes on 12, 14, 15, and 16, and 1 no on 12, 14, 15, 16.
That completes my report, Madam Chair.
Madam Clerk, I had a question. Number 13, do you have a yes or a no on that for?
On number 13, I have a yes for everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a yes for everybody.
Okay, thank you very much. Just clarifying that. And we have anyone else questions? That is, motion has carried. Thank you very much, Commissioner Skolnick. Now we will move on to citizen appointments, and these are actually reappointments. Some of them, Public Health Advisory Committee, a recommendation for Vonda Woodbury through 12/31 of 22, and Solid Waste Planning Committee, Scott Hubler, through 12/31/21.
I will support those.
Motion by Commissioner
Mahoney.
Mahoney.
And I'll support.
And second by Commissioner Foster.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Are those all reappointments?
I don't think Vondi.
I don't think Vondi is. Vondi is not a reappointment.
What are her qualifications for that position?
The health project.
She's
in
worked on the
Muskegon
health
County.
project. She works for the Mercy Health
Mercy Health.
project. And she applied about 8 months ago. So she's been on the list for quite a while. She has a huge list of qualifications.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure that Kathy will be willing to get those for you if you'd like to see them.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
how, do you know how often that committee meets?
The Public Health Advisory Committee, Commissioner Mahoney, do you know how often they meet?
When I was on it, we met once a month.
I think they still meet once a month. All right.
This amount
Thank you.
is for this.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Oppose the same. That motion carries. Next is the chairman's report. I wanted to let you know that every Wednesday through February 26th at 6 o'clock, there's Icebreaker Wednesdays at the Muskegon Luge and Adventure Sports Park. You can learn how to skate and cross-country ski. February 12th at 5 p.m. is the celebration of Black History Month at the Muskegon Community College Film Festival at the Stevenson Center. And 2 days, twice a year, families and friends can enjoy a free fishing weekend, and that will be February 15th and 16th. And it's, Commissioner Wilkins says it's too cold to be out there, and I say the ice is not good enough. So I would ask you to please be very careful if you venture out onto the ice with your kids. Very, very, very careful. Next, I'd like to mention that there tonight at 7 o'clock at the Norton Shores Library is an information session on the Nugent Sand project. And February 19th at 6 p.m. at the Muskegon Community College is a presentation on the MATS program, which the public has not seen yet. So I would like to defer anyone that's here for a comment on that to please hold your comments until after February 19th at 6 p.m. when you'll be able to hear the presentation from MATS. And I appreciate that. That is the end of my report, and I turn it over to the administrator for his report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have one item for consideration. Approve the Michigan Department of Transportation revised project authorization to provide additional state funding to the amount of $76,679 and authorize the board chair to sign.
So moved.
Support. We have a motion by Commissioner Mahoney, a second by Commissioner Wilkins. And I will say that this has actually been approved in the past, but it was approved 2 chairmans ago, and I felt we needed a new approval now, even though it is just a standard application from MATS for this project. Are there any other questions from any of the commissioners? Commissioner Leering?
Yes, so I looked at that report. Does it lock us into any future spending that the county's obligation to MATS?
It's for that 5-year period, and I would ask our director, Jim Coons, to come up and ask that question.
Jim Coons, Muskegon Area Transit, 2624 6th Street. The item actually in front of you is a project authorization approval. That would just be for that particular item. The master agreement is a 5-year agreement, but every time there is funding that comes through, it comes in a project authorization. Anything we are receiving would be part of a state application process, so you get to see those when they happen.
My concern is that if we are to do something different with MATS in the future, does this lock us into our current status with MATS right now?
The state of Michigan would entertain any adjustments we needed to make to address that. If the county were to do something different with the program, we would work with the state to determine those obligations. And we have a master agreement that goes through 2021. So the next 5-year agreement will come out in 2022 for consideration.
This all goes through the Transportation Policy Board through Wimserdick, and these grants are still also available to transportation organizations that are authorities as well as county owned. Does that answer your question, Commissioner Larry?
So I guess my concern is if we want to move MATS into an authority of some sort, does this lock us into our current situation in any way?
It does not.
It puts us, I mean, we'd obviously, like Jim said, we had to get permission to do that, but other communities, other counties have moved theirs into an authority, and the state has approved that as well. So
While this other agreement was in place, they've been able to
Yep.
transition?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Because they offer the same grants to the authorities too.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, do I need
I
a?
had one question. I was just wondering, the funds that we're receiving, will that cover the entire project, or is this just a portion?
This is a program that the state of Michigan makes available to nonprofit transportation entities. This by no means covers their entire cost. This just provides a stipend for, I think it's $1.20 per mile, up to whatever their maximum amount is. This covers a very small portion of those agencies' expenses. As the county, we are obligated to pass those funds through, so we don't get any of it, but we stand as the recipient from the state to pass through to these entities.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. Oh,
It's my understanding the nonprofits are the ones that receive the funds after it comes through the MATs, and they are using it for their projects. The county itself doesn't use this money.
Correct.
any other commissioner?
I guess the only reason I was asking, I was making sure that, so we don't have any other obligation to have to pay them any further dollars for these projects.
That is correct.
That's what I was wondering.
Any other questions? Seeing no, Madam Clerk, do I need a roll call on this? Okay, please.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Vice Chair Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney,
Yes.
Chairman Hughes.
Yes.
9 yes.
Thank you very much. That motion carries.
Madam Chair, that ends my report.
Ends your report? Wonderful. Excuse me. Excuse me. Well, we asked for his opinion on a motion. Ma'am?
So you're going to go to public comment when you get done with your old business.
Is there any other old business to come before this committee? Any new business to come before this committee?
Madam Chair, I have an issue of new business.
Okay.
I'd like to present a resolution to declare Muskegon County to be a sanctuary, Second Amendment sanctuary county. I distributed that resolution. It is the same resolution that's being presented statewide to all of the counties. I believe this was in all of the commissioners' mailboxes today, and so I could read the whole resolution if you would like, but you have it in front of you. And so it would be to make Muskegon County a Second Amendment sanctuary county.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second to send this to the committee?
I'll support it for discussion.
We have a support for discussion. Is there any discussion on this? Yes, Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes, I guess I wonder why this is necessary. I mean, nobody's proposing to take away Second Amendment rights. Nobody's going to lose their right to bear arms. The Michigan laws do have a few restrictions that were passed when I was there, actually in the House, and I don't think we should go against those. We have situations where in our schools kids have to be trained for active shooters. I mean that things are not. We have way too many people with guns out there, and an organization.
Excuse me, please.
Nobody's
Be
taking
quiet in the
anybody's guns,
audience.
but what I'm saying is that
Please be
no,
quiet in the audience or
no.
you'll be removed.
The NRA has prevented us from from requiring background checks for people buying guns, and supports assault weapons, which you don't need to defend your grandkids. So I would oppose this as unnecessary, and actually I believe it goes against some of the laws that are already on the books in Michigan.
So this resolution is basic.
Commissioner Laring, Commissioner Snyder is next. Commissioner Snyder.
I would oppose this. I don't see the necessity for it. The Constitution speaks for itself. And as far as I am concerned, everything I understand and have had association with, it is being enforced at the constitutional level. And I don't see the necessity of taking action at the local level that would not have any bearing at the end.
Commissioner Laring.
So this resolution basically models the state and our federal constitution. The residents of Virginia felt the same way, that their constitutional rights weren't going to be violated. The governor of Virginia there are 5 bills in the state legislature. What this resolution does is send a message to the state that we do not support any collection or infringement on our Second Amendment rights. The residents of Virginia felt the same way. Our governor actually supports gun bans and gun confiscation laws. If she was able to pass them, this sends a message to the state and the other counties that that's not going to happen here in Muskegon County. As a board, as an elected board, this basically sends a signal to the state that we in Muskegon County honor gun rights, and that us as elected officials also support local gun rights of our residents in Muskegon County. There are other counties looking at this. Our neighbors are all looking at it. Oceana County is looking at it. They have it back to committee. I'm asking that this motion be pushed back for debate in our Courts and Public Safety Committee, that we can have this lively debate. So that's my request. The board rules state that we have to vote to send this back to committee, and I would prefer to not have the debate during the full board because we can't pass it here. I would like to see it pushed back to Courts and Public Safety where we can have this lively debate and push it onto a full board as an agenda item, please.
I appreciate that, but that's not how things work. There is public comment on any agenda item, anything, any motion.
I didn't say there wasn't public comment,
No,
ma'am.
there's debate among us under any motion. So
Correct, I agree.
Okay,
And
I
I
thought
agree
you
with
were
that.
asking not to have it.
But we can't pass it in this
We have
body.
to, but
we have to
will
vote
be
to put.
passing it on to the Courts and Public Safety if that was the decision of the Commissioner Mahoney.
I have a couple of things that I have trouble with this particular resolution. First of all, they're exactly right. I did swear an oath to the Constitution. However, there's a whole lot more to the Constitution than the Second Amendment. If these laws are passed by the citizens, representatives, and signed by the governor, you wish to challenge those laws, you need to go to the court system. You can't just ignore the law. That's part of the Constitution I swore to, is to uphold the laws. And if those laws are passed by elected officials of the citizens and signed by the governor, then I am obligated to obey those. If I want to challenge them, I go to a court, and the court decides whether or not it violates the Second Amendment. I don't think I have the authority to challenge the law without the court. That's my opinion, but I'm not a lawyer, so I would defer to the court system to deal with this, not us.
Thank you, Commissioner Mahoney. Anyone else? Commissioner Skolnick.
I guess I've noticed other counties have passed resolutions which essentially does the same thing, except they reaffirm the Second Amendment, and I think that's less. Once you put the word sanctuary in there, it just everybody it raises emotions. I have guns. I served in the military for 4 years. I certainly support the Second Amendment. It's just, I don't even really, I don't agree with Tony Barnes very often. But when I listen to him today, I don't know why we're doing this, because the Second Amendment's in the Constitution. They can't take that away. We take a constitutional amendment of every state. It's not happening, but we can debate it.
And I would have to follow up on Bob's. I think this is just a political theater here to do this.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
it doesn't mean anything. We already live under the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Michigan, where we are able to keep and bear arms. I think this is just a feel-good thing that somebody gets to throw it on Facebook and say, look what we did. I think it's absolutely worthless piece of paper.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Foster.
There's a little misinformation. Commissioner Hoovy, right? The NRA has made it so you have to do background checks on every gun sold. I do them every day. But with that being said, with the lack of some knowledge, I will support Commissioner Larians to move it to committee.
And we already have a support.
Okay.
He was the support.
You already supported it. That's why we're having discussion. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Skolnick.
We're voting to send this on to committee for more discussion.
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder.
No.
Commissioner Wilkins.
No.
Vice Chair Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
No.
Commissioner Laring.
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney.
No.
Commissioner Nash.
No.
Chairman Hughes.
No.
6 no, 3 yes.
And the motion, it fails. Is there any public comment on anything except for transportation? Because you will be worried. After the presentation at community college, you will have all the information and facts about transportation.
Madam Chair.
Okay. I mean, if you want to say something, but you don't have the facts right now to say anything, but you're more than welcome to if you'd like to. Okay.
Madam Chair. I just, out of courtesy for those that want to speak for the bus, we just told the gentleman at the beginning that he could speak at the end. And
That's right. We'll let.
it's good for us to at least hear the community's comments because they may not make it to the next meeting.
That's true. Okay.
Right.
Chair.
Yes.
Will you announce that date for the Transportation Committee on the 19th? Is it to make clear that?
Yes.
Yes.
The Transportation Committee with the presentation of the routes and everything will be February 19th at 6 o'clock at Community College. And then we will be having another meeting with the transportation here. So, would you please state your name, address, and limit your comments to 2 minutes or less?
Eleanor Cantor, 1721 Franklin, 49441. Respectfully, we have read the report, and many of us also watched the presentation that was given here to the committee. So we do have some bit of information to comment on today. In my opinion, the commission should implement any recommendations made by Foursquare that are supported by the public and disregard any recommendations that will slash services that people rely on. First, I want to clarify some of the misleading information contained in the final report. Cutting paratransit or GO bus services to the absolute bare minimum required by law is not a requirement or a recommended practice. It's important that the Commission understands that implementing this recommendation will leave thousands of seniors and disabled people without transportation options, even in the city center. Last year, I asked the Commission to establish a public input committee led by people who use MATs. Disability Justice League met with Jim Coons and Bob Lukens to discuss the possibility of a public input committee, and which is a best practice recommended by the Department of Transportation, and we were told that absolutely could not happen unless the Commission made it happen. The MATS transportation route study was not an independent study. In an independent study, the result is not predetermined by the entity funding the study. Addendum 1 to the request for proposals stated, quote, METS recognizes that many in the public will express desires for more and better services, but expects that the consultant will introduce the concept of resource constraints. According to Foursquare, when they brought the county their budget neutral recommendations, they were instructed.
Thank you very much. Your time is up. Next.
May I? Thank you.
Do you have your name and information right here?
No, but I will write that down for you.
Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Stacy Roberson. I stay in Muskegon, Michigan, and I was born and raised here. I don't think that the bus services need to be cut. I think at the end of the day, they need to take the big buses and put them up and bring out smaller buses for late night, because people shop and people go to work. And if they cut the bus services, where's people going to be? Then they're going to be out. They don't have no other people depend on these bus services. And that's what we're here for. We don't want it cut. We just want help to make it better. And if they got to go buses at night, they can bring those smaller buses in so people still can get around. I went to the store the other day and I spent $11 for a cab there and $11 to come back. That was money out of my pocket that we could have just saved. If they bring the smaller buses at night and take the bigger buses and put them up, or have big buses where they're located at, and then it'll be better. You see what I'm saying? They got to go buses. They can bring the smaller buses out at night and put the big buses up. It's saving money. And people depends on those. People who goes to work, people who comes home. That's the only way. I'm just saying that's what they need to do. They can come up with better solutions than cutting the bus service. Because everybody in here, they ride the bus. They depend on that bus to get them back and forth. If they don't have the big money to pay the cab service or to go or Uber or none of that, they got enough money to live on. And that's what I'm just saying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Donna Iverson. I was born in Muskegon on 2nd Street, not far from here, and I now live on Houston Avenue. I ride the buses regularly 2 or 3 times a week, and I challenge you to try riding a bus sometime in the next week or 2, just so that if this issue comes before you, have a real understanding of what goes on a city bus and how many people depend on it. I ride the 6th Street bus mostly. It picks me up in front of Nelson Place where I live in senior housing. I'm in my 70s. I have a hard time in the winter getting from the front door to the bus shelter, which is at the end of the driveway, because as you know, Michigan winters are challenging. Under the new system, under either plan, I would have to walk at least over to 3rd Street, and the city really doesn't plow the sidewalks toward my end of the neighborhood, so it would be very difficult for me. I don't think the bus services should be cut. Maybe some changes need to be made, but the 6th Street bus, according to your own report that I read, that 200-page one, the 6th Street bus has one of the highest riderships in the city. It goes through Nelson neighborhood and through the Heights and goes on to Myers. And that bus, after about 8 o'clock in the morning, is always filled. And the consultants from Maryland, who, what does Maryland know about Muskegon? Not a whole lot. Argue that they just want the buses to go down the main corridors like Apple Avenue and Laketon. They don't want to be like going through neighborhoods. I think we need to rethink that philosophy, because that's where people live, that's where people are using the buses, and that's where we need them. I have comments from 2 night shift people who ride the bus at night. Terry Morse and Bradley Torrey, they both want to go on record.
Thank you very much. Your
Saying
time
they
is up.
oppose this change. Thank you.
Larry Hard, Ravenna Township. Please don't tell my cardiologist that I'm doing this again. I will make up for the time I missed from not being here before. I swore an oath to the Constitution the first time, and I felt that was a sacred oath. And I took the oath once. Should be enough. I was asked to reaffirm that oath at a later date. And initially, I was a little bit miffed by that. I made the oath once. Why ask me to take the oath again? But the importance of that oath was what was the issue. And I swore an oath to the Constitution, not to the statutes. And there's a difference. Statute law, many, many, many statutes violate the constitutional test. They are unconstitutional statutes, yet they're enforced because they're great money makers. If I damage one of you and I'm fined, common law would say you should get the fine. That should make you whole again. Statute law says this person is property of the state, and one of the state's pieces of property has been damaged, so the state gets the fine. That's statute law. Common law says I should make you whole again. That's fair. That's biblical. If I damage you, I should fix you. So our oath was to the Constitution, not to the statutes. And every statute should meet that constitutional test. Does any one of the statutes, gun registration, gun licensing, CPL, does that infringe on my right to keep and bear? And I can tell you, I've been pulled over by a Kent County officer, and he infringed on my constitutional right using statute law. So we do have something to be concerned about. And you reiterating your oath is not a bad idea.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Hello, my name's Amanda Rupert. I'm from the Muskegon County area. I live at 1461 Hudson Street. I'm here regarding the MATS issue for transportation. If you guys ever rode the bus before in your life, think about it. If your car breaks down and you see the bus and you didn't have no other way of getting around, you know, we look at it as a transportation to get home, safe and sound. We, who's out here right now, depends on that. You know, I never driven in my entire life. I can't afford it. I'm on low income. But I look at it as my way of taking it home. You know, I survived 37 years on the bus all my life. My mom taught me how to ride the bus. We depend on the bus. You know, life situation is hard for all of us. We make friends on the bus. You know, family, friends, you know. But the key issue is to save our buses, and we rely on them. But if you put yourself in our shoes today, you go home and think about it. What would you do? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Kathy McIntyre. I live at 1080 Terrace, apartment 814. As everyone else has stated that nothing against any of you on this board, but none of you know what it's like to ride those buses. Some of us have to ride 2 to 3 buses to either get to the store, work, wherever. There are others who have to work either on second and third shift, and that is their only way of getting back and forth to work. We need these buses. There's no question about it. You guys wouldn't know how to react if you guys were to have to ride on the bus. You guys don't have to worry about it because you guys have vehicles. You can afford them. Thank you. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rosie Balberti, and I live at 921 East Forest. And I want to say that we all practice biblical laws and principles. I like to know, do you rape? Do you murder? Do you cheat on your husband and wife? Or do you steal, embezzle money from the county? Well, you are practicing biblical principles. Even if you're an atheist, you still practice them. Jesus would also obey the constitutional laws of the land and his religious laws as well.
he would not belong to any political party, Republican or Democrat. Instead, he would be asking, "Are you on my side?" And he wouldn't go against his religious beliefs, such as abortion or same-sex laws. But yet, he would still show mercy. And if he was a commissioner, he would allow himself to be trained by ICE. Why? Because he would make sure that the county wouldn't get sued to billions and billions of dollars for someone who hurt you. And he would make sure that you understood and could recognize human trafficking, drug smuggling, or some other type of illegal activities. And he would also not use the race card or the poor card. When you have a disagreement, you don't call someone a racist. He would never do that. And also, he would also give an assignment to a person with a disagreement, like Judas. He was embezzling money from his, and he still gave him an assignment. And another thing is that another thing the left does is they use the religious card as saying, "What would Jesus do?" Oh, Christians wouldn't do that. And you know what? Christians fall for it because this is an extreme view.
Thank you very
of
much.
twisting
Your
it.
time is up. Anyone else?
Thank you. Hi, my name is Dharma Cantor, 1898 Orsho Road, Laketon Township, Muskegon County. I am going to exercise my crazy old lady option here. I am standing here with the faithful. I mean the voters in your audience today are the people who believe in democracy and self-governance. We believe the commission owes us the same consideration you give corporations, businesses, and affluent property owners, period. As a county resident, we are all equals. The question for all of us, who are the people of Muskegon County? What kind of community are we? What kind of community do we want to live in? If we examine the decision-making process as it applied to the Muskegon area transportation services, the changes proposed to MATS are the commissioner's response to a budget deficit in the program. The budget is made up of state and federal dollars, municipal contributions, and fares. The commission stated the county does not plan on funding public transportation. Their goal is to use municipality contributions as the required match and to commit no dollars from the county's tax revenue. Thus, we should accept less. To translate the position, they don't care about the transportation needs of seniors, the disabled, or low-income families. No one seems to suggest reducing the county road commission budget by eliminating maintenance or snow removal, leading to the industrial park or the airport or the mall. Why do people in cars have a higher priority than residents who ride the bus?
Thank you very much. Your time is up.
Yeah.
Rochelle Myers, Spring Lake, Michigan. I just want to say for the record that I did not hear any of these people here today talking about the Second Amendment sounding as they were divisive. I heard them sounding that they were caring about their community and caring about their rights. And I don't believe that we're actually talking about the state of Michigan taking our gun rights away as much as we would just like to ask the board to affirm that you are willing to protect our gun rights. And none of you, with the exception of the two gentlemen, are approving that. And I am ashamed of that. All we wanted was our rights affirmed. For you to say, we will affirm those rights. Thank you.
Right.
Welcome
My name
back
is
up.
Marone Ali. Oh yeah.
Thank
And
you
like
for
I said
waiting.
earlier, I'm a resident of Muskegon. Uh, practically all my life, and I ride the bus quite frequently, and a lot of my friends that I have met and got to know over the years, and I know we all depend on the bus as our means of transportation. I got my doctors and my pharmacists and all this downtown, so I know I had transportation and that I could rely on. And a lot of people I know depend on public transportation, and we need it. And I think that it wouldn't be a good thing to do for the poor people, in the city of Muskegon Heights, and the city of Muskegon, period, city and the county. And I just want to tell the commissioners that y'all should look out for the poor, people who don't have, transportation and means to get around like a lot of y'all do. And it would be very helpful to help the people, who need it, and me myself, I didn't have a monthly bus pass for the last 3 or 4 years, and I didn't kind of rely on the buses, I don't worry about transportation from people to get around, for my appointments and stuff, because, I know I got public transportation that can get me there. And so not only me, but a lot of other people, depend on the public transportation. And I think y'all be doing a great disservice, if y'all take it away from the people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Latoya, and
What's your last name, Latoya?
Peavy.
Okay.
And I live in Muskegon Heights. I've been living there for 16 years.
Okay.
And I've been riding public transportation for the past 8 years because my car broke down. And I used to also work at the Old Plums on Apple. And I used to get once the mats stopped running after a certain time, I used to have to wait for a cab in the cold to try to get home safe to my family. I really need to let you guys know the families here really need the transportation of the buses. The 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. do not work. We need longer hours for the buses so we won't have to wait in the cold for the cab. I had customers from my job used to take me home because I was waiting outside so long for a cab to come get me. I just want you guys to know it's not easy riding the buses to try to get back and forth to work, to the grocery stores, and back home to doctor's appointments. My daughter, she's in college. My youngest go to Muskegon High School. It's just that we really, really need you guys to consider this. We really need this. And please listen to us. We're not pleading just to be pleading. Just know that we really need this. And thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I can leave it.
If I understood right, that 6-3 vote was that you would not take the Second Amendment resolution to even committee. If I did, I'm ashamed of you. You put a lot more time and effort when the resolution came in for sanctuary. What was a lot of us saw through as a sanctuary county. You put in more time in in that discussion, and if I recall correctly, it was tabled. But you refused to even consider the committee taking something as important as our county trying to be firm that you would back our Constitution and our right to buy arms. I know there's a lot of things out there, and there's a lot I don't know and a lot I don't understand. But I am ashamed to think that you could put more time and effort into that resolution than what you can for the strength of Muskegon County to feel like you would back it. You keep saying, well, I believe in gun rights, but we know what leadership can do. And we know a lot of leadership is trying to break our Constitution. And if we don't stand up, we're going to lose. So I think you better think about this when you go out and want to be voted back in again, because this word will get out. How you wouldn't even put it into committee because you're that much against it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, Al Green, 600 West Clay. Even with the micro system that's proposed, you say there's not going to be any waiting. You have to still wait, even when they go to switch over to the smaller buses. You're still going to have at least a half-hour wait in between pickups, even after the 6 to 6. I don't understand where. Just a reminder that the Four Squares survey is just a survey. It's not etched in stone yet. So let's make sure we do it the right way and make sure everything that we can do is done. Again, the survey is only one opinion. Where do we go if we end up worse than what we are now? You're still waiting for buses, even under the new proposal, after hours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I found that out last night.
Melinda Pego, Muskegon County resident. So you guys have a problem hopping on board with what several other counties, there's a statewide initiative to protect our Second Amendment, which sadly has came to effect because of the craziness that's been going on within our country. I've said it before, things that happen nationwide. Bob, I'm impressed. You're studying up. You know what's going on in the news with other states, and so thank you. Maybe the rest of you should hop on board with that. The sad thing is that you guys will spend months and tons of money for a proposal, a work session to buy to propose to buy a building for a judge that's not here yet, that may not come here because we might have legislation to bring him here or her in the year 2023. You spent months and months and money, and you want to dump millions of dollars into a building that's falling apart, but you don't want to support the Constitution we already have and in the right and the amendment that we already have. I don't understand that. You'll waste time and money on buildings to make space for someone that's not even here, but you can't reaffirm the Constitution that you took an oath to uphold and protect. And one of the commissioners will support it for discussion, but not for passing it.
Good evening again, Michael Hallweisen, 903 Turner, Muskegon, Michigan. You already have my opinion about the 2A. You understand how much I love our Constitution. But I want to talk to you about the mats. Last night I was at the city workshop. Their presentation to the city was borderline shameful. I hope you're all comfortable because they threw you right under the bus. They said, oh, county's not going to help us. We're going to strong arm you into paying for this. And if you don't vote in, or this, say Fruitport doesn't vote in, we can't go there. That's shameful. Our people need these buses. A few years ago, I was unfortunate enough I was trying to stretch my Tahoe out for a few more years. It didn't make it. So I had to ride the bus for a while. And listening and riding with other people, I'm going, these people need this. You need to take a very serious, hard look at whatever they propose and study it hard, because what they're saying in one part, they're not giving you the whole story, because they're changing the story over at City Hall where I'm headed next. Have a wonderful night. Please look it over hard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary Myers. I spoke before, so you all see me. Ms. Wright, I suggest that you do a little studying, especially on the NRA. The NRA is really supportive against crime and gun laws. You have to have a background check for every gun that I bought, and I've got a lot of guns. I really feel ashamed of you guys. I really am ashamed of you. You can't even say, yes, we will support the Second Amendment. We will support you people that are out there. You want to know what? I live out in Twin Lake. It's 20 minutes when I call 911. It's 20 minutes before I get a response. You want to know what? I need my guns because I'm going to defend my family. I'm going to defend my grandkids. I'm going to defend everybody on my property. What you people are all saying at this, I'm sorry, not all of you, because I appreciate you three very much so. But I'm sorry. There we go. Yes, I imagine. But anyway, you've made me very angry today. And normally I get angry. I usually start cussing and swearing and going all. But you want to know what? You need to really take a hard look at what you just did. You said you don't even want to talk about this resolution. There's already 10 counties that have passed it. You should really reconsider, at least discuss it, and maybe get some experts in here to answer your questions about how all does. Us gun owners are being attacked left and right. We had a presidential candidate that said he wants to take my AR-15 and my AK-47. You want to know what? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But you could have at least said, yeah, we'll support you. We'll support what we took an oath to support, and you didn't. Be ashamed. I don't know how you sleep at night.
Thank you.
No.
Dave Versluis, Muskegon County. Sometimes when you listen to other people talk, it makes you think a little bit. And so listening to some of these other people, you folks are all elected. And so that by definition, that makes you politicians. And so the political consequences of decisions that you make are a primary consideration. They have to be. And it would seem to me that in passing, even if it's symbolic, passing a resolution to uphold a constitutional, something that's part of our Constitution already, there's no political downside to it. There's none. There's absolutely zero. Even if you think it's just symbolic, we don't need to. And I heard a lot of different arguments today, but there's no political downside. There's only political downside to you if you choose to not do that. That's the only downside, because this is a big issue in our society right now, and there are people worried about it, and those people's fears are real, and there are real forces coming after those constitutions, not just the Second Amendment, others as well. But I think it's worth, and maybe you've thought about those things, these political consequences, but think about it. You vote for something that's already in the Constitution. What's the harm? It's in the Constitution. No big deal. Move on. But if you vote against that and you get yourself on record, there are political consequences that probably could very well come back on that. So just something to think about. Respectfully so. Thank you all for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to let everybody know that there is an open house meeting with Foursquare to discuss the route study on Wednesday, February 19th at the Herman Ivory Terminal from 11 to 2. And there is also one at MCC in the evening on February 19th from 6 to 7. So one of those maybe fit your schedule and you'll learn a little bit more about what's going on with the MAT system. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will move on.
Dates again, the 19th.
The 19th. Both of them are the
That's-
19th.
Are they both at MCC?
No, one is at MCC and one is at the Herman Ivory Terminal.
We'll send you notices.
Different time.
And that's from,
I think you got one.
From 11 to 2
okay.
At the Herman Ivory Terminal and 6 to 7 at MCC.
Okay, got it.
And that's
In the
the
evening.
downtown Sturris?
Downtown. David? We need your name and your address, please. Everybody else does, not me.
David Stramp. I'm against them charging money to park up over there by the lake. The ovals.
That's not a county issue, that's a city of Muskegon issue.
5:30.
Okay.
I'm sorry, across the street.
And I
Yep.
think they should extend the bus farther east and south. They say they don't have time. I think they should test drive the bus to find out if they can do that. If they can make the circle in 50 minutes time. You know, extend the Apple II bus and extend the Sherman East bus 1.5 miles. So it goes out to Milliron and it goes north on Milliron to Laketon. Because people where I live can't get on a bus unless they walk 1.5 miles to the nearest bus stop.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing none, is there any final board comments?
Madam Chair, I have one comment. So I want to bring to the board's attention, I'm not quite sure why it's addressed the hat wearing when it seems to be a MAGA hat, but when other residents come up and wear hats during public comment, there seems to be no issue with that. I think that this whole hat issue needs to go away. I don't know why we allow some to wear hats and there's no comment made during public comment. There were several residents got up and spoke with their hats on, and our one board member who always takes issue with it decided not to today. But if somebody who steps up the microphone with a MAGA hat, he's the first one out of the box to suggest a problem with that. So I just disagree with the favoritism shown or the discrimination shown, if you will, why some hats are allowed and some hats aren't.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will entertain a
comment. Your criticism is so noted, and I was tempted to bring up the issue and decided under the circumstances not to today.
Can I ask what those
I will be
circumstances
bringing
are?
it up in the future.
Well, I think we set a precedence today. What are those circumstances that you didn't speak up today? I don't know what the circumstances are different.
I just wanted to make a comment because, you know, there's a lot of talk today, and we did take an oath to uphold the Constitution, and we do support Second Amendment rights. So we don't have to reaffirm what we've already affirmed. And I think that's what the message the board is trying to get people to understand. And it's pretty simple. So it's not really complicated.
Right.
You know, we stand by the Constitution, we stand by the laws of the state, and we do our best to abide by them. And as it refers to the hat issue, we also have some laws and statutes that refrain from us wearing political, you know, any type of propaganda within this room. And some of us are not abiding by that law. So when we talk about that, we have to address that with everything, not just some things. So if we're going to abide by the law, let's do that. But let's not pick and choose what we want to abide by. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Foster.
Thank you. I think the Second Amendment rights thing, we all understand it. But I don't think it would have done any harm to pass it. It's a simple resolution. And as we know, they're a feel-good resolution. I understand we all have our opinions.
I thought we had voted on this already.
I would support comments, sir. That's all I'm stating. That was my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? We will move on, and I will entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268E to consult with the attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with pending litigation.
I would so move.
Support.
We have motion and support. Madam Clerk, could I have a roll call, please?
Yes.
Motion by Commissioner Snyder, second by Commissioner Mahoney.
Commissioner Snyder. We're in a meeting, please. We're doing a roll call vote.
Would, yeah, could I have a roll call, please? Would you please be quiet? We're still in a board meeting.
Commissioner Snyder.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Vice Chair Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Laring. Commissioner Mahoney.
Yes.
Commissioner Nash.
Yes.
Commissioner Skolnick.
Yes.
Chairman Hughes.
Yes.
9 yes to go into closed session.
I need to do that once the doors are opened again. Are we back online, Sean?
Leave the doors are open.
Okay, the doors are open.
I'd
and
like
I'll
to make a
entertain
motion to go back into open session.
Do I have a second?
And I will support that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Nash, second by Commissioner Mahoney to go back into closed session.
Open
Open
session.
session, to go out of closed
Out
session
of.
into open session. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
The same. That motion is carried. I will entertain a motion to accept the recommendation of corporate counsel.
I would
So
so
move.
move.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Do I need a roll call for that?
I just have one
Yes.
clarification. I take it that if the nature of that is resolved, there will be a separate document left for the county board to approve.
Are you talking about the release?
Some sort of agreement release, yes.
You don't have to approve it. The board can have to approve it. They just have to approve the terms, the specifics that have to approve. You can if you want to, if you would feel comfortable with that.
Well, my point is that there is case law out there talking about specifying those terms under the Open Meetings Act. And so we can either disclose those now on what the nature of the resolution is, or often the case that you bring back a document, right, that gets signed and approved then. So I'll leave it to you. I just want to make sure we're compliant with the OMA.
Well, the terms are it's the 16,250 for full release.
Okay.
I mean, that's there, and of course you can state it on the record. No liability. Standard release provisions.
Yeah, I'm not worried about those ancillary terms, but the nature of the settlement and the amount and the case to which it applies. Yep.
Is everybody comfortable with that?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, could I have a roll call, please? Commissioner Skolnick?
I just would like to ask our attorney.
Has it got to do with this?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
In the agenda, it said that it's pending litigation. Like, what does all that mean? The stuff that's in parentheses, is that how you define the case?
Yeah, so that's a case caption and the case number. So the Open Meetings Act has an exception for pending litigation, but you've got to identify that litigation. And so we do that by parties to the litigation as well as a case number.
So can you look it up?
Yeah.
Just curious. I mean, it's meaningless to most people. To me,
Right.
The court, Michigan courts have taken a more narrow view, probably within the last 5 years or so, on closed session and what you have to disclose, what you should disclose as part of the Open Meetings Act. So you have to identify that pending litigation. So typically we do that by case caption and case number so that the public is aware of this is the case that is pending that you are discussing. And somebody could take that case number and go look up all the pleadings.
Right. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Vice Chair Foster.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes.
Commissioner Laring.
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney.
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Skolnick.
Yes.
Commissioner Steyer.
Yes.
And Chairman Hughes.
Yes. And that motion carries. That
Motion that we
I would
adjourn.
move we adjourn.
we have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Nash, second by Commissioner Mahoney, and we adjourned.
Often.